and welcome to my first ever run through of the Kanto region. As you can see, we're about to enter the world of Pokemon, and honestly I'm really excited. I've never actually done the Kanto region. I've actually gone through a little bit of the games years ago, back when I was doing the original. I believe I had both Red and Blue on the Game Boy Color, but I never actually got through to the Elite Four. I think the furthest I ever got was... I think I got up to Lance once, and just before I got to the point where I was about to beat him, my Game Boy Color ran out of battery power and the game ended. So that was the furthest that I've ever got, so this is actually the only region that I've never actually completed. I'm going to be playing as a boy. There's only a few games where I don't actually like the male character, and this isn't actually one of them. Still trying to learn the controls. So I'm going to go with the name of Marumo, just because I'd rather not use my real name, and no one's really going to know what Marumo is, so not too bad. The one thing that I think is going to give this a little bit more depth than any other game is that I tend to like Pokemon that other people aren't as fond of. You know, there are a few that obviously everyone likes, but most of the ones that I like are ones that are generally unpopular or people aren't as fond of. So I'm going to call my rival Robert, because I don't think I've only ever met one person called Robert before in my life, and I'm sure he won't mind that he's going on to this channel. So I'm going to call him Robert. Although I'm not going to be calling him Robert if I manage to mess up his name anymore. So I'm going to try and make a team that's interesting. And it's probably not going to be the conventional one. I don't think I'm going to be going with Pokemon like Nidoking, Pokemon that everyone uses on their journey, because I just don't find that very fun. I might choose the odd one that everyone uses, you know, there might be one or two that you've used, but hopefully it will be generally Pokemon that people don't use a lot of. I don't really like to just be the usual, you know, everyone seems to have a Garchomp, so I'm going to have a Garchomp. Everyone picks Charmander, I'm not going to pick Charmander. I didn't choose Charmander for Pokemon Go either, not because everyone chooses Charmander, and I actually really like Charizard, but because the one game that I did play, where I got all the way up to Lance, I hadn't picked Charmander. I'd actually chosen the one that I'm going to pick now, and because I'd chosen that one, I've got the really fond memory of the starter. So it does mean that it's not going to be, you know, a Charmander run where everyone's going to lose to me and I'm going to rock the stage and that's going to be the end of it for everyone, but it should still be interesting. So I'm going to be choosing Bulbasaur. And honestly, I really like Bulbasaur. I think Bulbasaur's really nice, whereas I'm not really as fond of Charmander itself. I kind of only really like Charizard, so I'm going to be calling my Bulbasaur, it was a female name, I'm going to call it Lily. Of course, Lily does have a reference to the new Sun and Moon games, but that's not actually the reason why I'm choosing it. Merely a coincidence. I think Lily's a nice name for a grass type that's female. So, Lily the Bulbasaur. Of course, Robert's going to be choosing Charmander, so eventually we'll be able to see Charizard. And it's time for our first battle. So, honestly, I don't think I've ever lost the first battle. So this is weird. So in the FireRed game, it seems that Professor Oak is going to give me a rundown of how battle works. I don't think you had that in the original game. I'm not even sure you had that back in Pokemon Ruby. So that's an interesting point. I think there's a lot of things that the FireRed game did to sort of make things a little bit easier that ultimately never got through to other games. I don't remember having an introduction quite as in-depth into battling as this when I was doing Sun and Moon. So, no, it's interesting just to see which bits make it through and which bits don't. Of course, now having said that, I don't think I've ever used a game of Pokemon where I've lost the first battle. I'm ultimately going to lose this one. So there you go, isn't that fantastic? The first time that I've ever lost to my rival in the first battle is going on YouTube. How incredibly disappointing. Oh well. Hopefully next time it'll be slightly different. So, by the next time that we go to battle him, I should have my second Pokemon. Actually one of the relatively new ones. So, relatively new? Sorry. What I mean is one of the relatively near ones. So, hopefully that should mean that by the time I go back to fighting my rival, I should have at least 2. Trainer tips. Press start to open the menu. Wow, I really needed that. I actually really did when I first started playing Game Boy Color. When I was on the Game Boy Color, I didn't realise that the start button allowed you to save the game, which meant that, in a sense, I had to try and speed run the game. So, back when I must have been about 7 at the time, I would get all the way up to Misty all the time, and I would think that was incredibly far, and then turn off the game and not actually go back on that game and not be able to continue with those Pokemon. I remember thinking for ages that I really wished that I could save the game and continue. And I only actually found out that I could do that ages later. You know, I must have been playing the game for a couple of months before I realised I could save the game. I got all the way up to Lieutenant Surge, and I have this vivid memory of opening up my game and being called for, I think it was lunch, and wanting to save the game and pressing the start button on the original Game Boy Color just by complete mistake. And seeing that option of saving the game, saving it, and then being absolutely thrilled that I could actually open the game when I came back to it. So, I'm not sure I could be considered the smartest child in the world, but there you go. That is the level of stupidity that I had when I was a child. So, I've just taken out 2 Rat-a-Tats, not particularly interesting battles. I'm not really grinding for anything. Lily's up to level 6, that's 2 HP, no attack, 1 defense, 2 special attack, 1 special defense, and 2 speed. So, there we go, that's Lily up a level. I'm not actually trying to get Lily up to any specific level. I think I'd like to have maybe Vine Whip or Razor Leaf before we get to Brock for obvious reasons. But I don't think that I necessarily want to get her up to like level 16 before I get to Brock, or level 24 before I hit Misty. I'm not going to be doing that kind of a thing. And honestly, I don't mind if the battles are difficult. You know, I kind of like the challenge, and I have a fond memory of remembering that Pokemon Blue and Pokemon FireRed, well, not FireRed, but Pokemon Red, were difficult. I even remember in Pokemon Yellow when I had Pikachu following me around that I enjoyed the fact that I had to fight against Brock. You know, I must have had my Pikachu up to level 20 before I beat Brock. You know, I had Slam and things just so that I could finally take the dang Onix out. So, you know, I have fond memories of these games being relatively difficult, and yes, I never got to the end of them, but, you know, that's not because I didn't enjoy them, it's because at no point did I ever really become good enough to get to the end of them. So, if I remember correctly, in the FireRed game, Professor Oak actually gives you some Pokeballs for giving him the parcel. I don't think he ever specifically says what it is. I always thought that they were the Pokedexes, but you can see them on the deck behind him. Oh, it's a custom Pokeball. There we go. weird. I wonder what kind of Pokeball it was. Maybe it was a Master Ball or something. Something that was a little bit different so that you could study it. Now we're going to be offered the Pokedex, and we have to collect all 151 Pokemon. I'm not going to be collecting them all. I have done that on Sun and Moon, and I tried to do it on the Pokemon Pearl, which is my favourite of all the generations. Like I said, unpopular, but, you know. Honestly, I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed the starters. I think my favourite starter ever is in Gen 4. I thought the Gen 4 was a nice game. I thought it was relatively fun. Although it might have been the fact that I chose the unpopular starter that made it more difficult, that made me enjoy it more. So, you never know. So, of course Robert's going to be rude to us and tell us that he's not going to let his sister lend us a map. Honestly, I couldn't care less. I know the Kanto region like the back of my hand. Playing the Game Boy Color version of it for years means that, you know, I remember these so well. I know exactly what's going on really, really well. So all I'm going to do now is get back up to Viridian City and get some Pokeballs, and hopefully we can catch our second Pokemon before I end it for today. Of course, what I want to try and do is get a flying type, and it is actually going to be a Pidgey, because I actually really like Pidgeot, and I don't think I ever fully got Pidgeot all the way to the end on any of my games. I think I always ended up getting a Sparrow and trading it for Farfetch'd. And I could get a Sparrow and go for Farfetch'd on this playthrough, but I'm not very fond of Sparrow, and I'm not very fond of anything else that's a flying type. I'm not really fond of Doduo, I'm not really fond of all the flying types are in this. Not fond of Sparrow, not fond of Doduo, not really fond of Farfetch'd. I suppose you've got the legendary birds. I do quite like Articuno and Moltres and Zapdos, but for some reason I don't really consider them a flying type, not because they're not, but because, well, I can't really use them at this stage in the game. I have to have at least Surf in order to get the first one. So I might try and get them, I might try and use them on my team, but I don't think I'd want to use more than one of them. And I think it would be in addition to my flying type, or Pidgey, rather than sort of in place of them. So, stupidly, I have already got some Pokeballs, but the more the merrier. I would rather have a few more and not use them than end up walking around, amazingly luckily find a shiny Pokemon and think, oh blast, I've not got enough Pokeballs to get it. So we'll get my Pidgey today and then we'll call it for the end. I'm going to try and give a nickname to every Pokemon in this journey. I'm not doing a Nuzlocke challenge at the moment. I'm more than happy to do one of those if people are interested. I'd like to finish the original Kanto region before I do anything else, but I'm more than happy to do that. I also think that I'd quite like to do something a bit different to anything else. I'd like to try and do themed playthroughs. I'd like to, for example, go all the way through the Hoenn region using nothing but, I don't know, bug-type Pokemon. Or all the way through the Kanto region using nothing but flying types. I think that might be quite interesting to try and do a mono team or a theme team, like a full mushroom team, or, I don't know, a full ash team or something like that. So if you're interested in seeing those, please do leave a like and subscribe, maybe even tell me down in the comments that you're interested in seeing them. And, God, if I get another Rattata, I'll call it for the day, and I'll back to fainting. So hopefully the next one will be a Pidgey, and I'll be able to leave it there after I catch it. So here we go, fingers crossed. Here it is. Female Pidgey. So, given that I'm going to try and catch this one, I think I'm going to call this Pidgey Heather. Not because I know anyone called Heather, but because for some reason Heather seems like a good name for it. think at level 3, Pidgeys don't actually know anything other than Tackle. I don't think it actually does know Growl or Sand Attack or even Gust. There we go. Yes. There we go. The second Pokemon for my team, Heather Pidgey. Pidgey, the tiny Pokemon, does not like to fight. It hides in tall grass and so on, foraging for food such as small bugs. So yes, I'm going to give a nickname to it. I'm going to call her Heather. So it's actually kind of weird that 2 of my Pokemon are going to be female. The first 2. Maybe I should try and make it so that every Pokemon I work with in this game is female. But thank you very much for watching. I do hope that I'll see you again next time. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.